Hello, everyone. My name is Private Cadet Keith Nolan, and the topic for today is death in the military. How many of you have considered joining the military? You? Me too. Well, ever since I was little, I've always wanted to join the military. I've always loved reading the history of wars, and my family were in. My grandfather was in World War II, and I would like to do the same thing for my country. Now the question is, can I? No. Why? Because I am deaf. It didn't matter. I still had that intuition that I wanted to. I still had that passion that I wanted to join the military. So after I graduated, 3 months before 9/11, I went to a recruiting office. So I entered, I see this man, this stunning man in a uniform walks up to me, and I couldn't read his lips very well. So I tell him, I'm sorry, I'm deaf. And he instantly tore off a little paper and put bad ears, disqual. He didn't even spell the whole word disqualified. Like, what is that? So I tried different locations, and all of them told me, sorry, no, you're disqualified. Sorry, no, you're deaf. So I decided to move on, and I got into teaching deaf ed. And three things happened this last spring. One, I was teaching my history class, and we were going over the Mexican War. And the bell rang, and as I sit down at my desk, a student of mine comes to me and says, I want to join the military. And I told him, sorry, you can't, you're deaf. And then it hit me. Over the time that everybody's told me no, now I'm telling him no. Like, it really hit me. The second thing, well, one of my friends moved to Israel, and he told me that over there's deaf people in the military. And I was like, what? Are you serious? How? Come on. So I went to Israel, and I interviewed 10 different deaf soldiers, and I got all that information all together. And the third thing was, at this school, they had this program for ROTC, meaning Reserved Officer Training Practice, and it was in your profession in that college. You would do your profession and you were doing ROTC in the military, showing you drills, or in the army. So when you did register, you would go in as a lieutenant, second lieutenant. To join the military as soon as you graduate. So as I teach, I was really interested, and I found out about it. So I emailed that teacher and asked him if I can join his classes, and I was really intrigued to share them with my students. So I sent the email, and I got a reply back. First time ever. I didn't get no rejection. They were like, well, let me see if we can do something to work that out. Come join us in the class. I was shocked. It was unexpected, but I jumped to the opportunity and showed up. So all my life, I had experienced, I wrote about a research paper about my life and about people in the military. And I found here in America there was a soldier, and his name is Texas. It was a Texas war, and his name was Dev Smith, and he was in the thing. And there was another one where lots of other ones. Also in the Gallaudet University, there's a list of all our deaf military soldiers that have been, and the list goes on. So before this, there were, in the wars, there were different soldiers that were there, and they were deaf, and they were there. And in fact, over there in Israel, they're not there in the front line. They're not on the shooting range. They're actually behind as support technical engineers. There's just so many opportunities. It's just not in the line of shooting. It's in the back. It's the support, And how they communicate is the same by gestures, by pen, paper, text messages, emails, lip reading, but they do it. So there's little groups of deaf individuals, and they get together and they communicate with each other and find signs and ways to communicate.
There's a few of them. They're small groups, and they learn how to communicate with each other, so they don't always need each other. So the next thing is military.
So there's also disabilities in the military, and they're amputees. For example, this guy had blown off both of his legs, and they later installed a prosthetic leg, and now that he's strong and everything, he's still in active duty and he's in combat. And I'm like, wow, isn't that incredible? Oof, even people that have lost limbs, like arms, they're all amputees. They've all done it. And there's this guy that lost half of his hearing. There's this thing in Iraq. Car blew up and lost his hearing, and now he's still active, and he's actually being a counselor. And there's this other guy that has lost one of his hearing in 1 year, and he's actually created this program for deaf people in Iraq, and now he's opened a school. It's just amazing. It's breathtaking. The military can have soldiers that are deaf, and there's many things also. At this school, it's 80% non-combat. If you're into the military, you might consider it. But you can be an engineer, an accountant. There's just various things that you can do. First thing, you open the soldiers and their skills. And the second thing is the military. And the third thing, we can do it. Deaf people can serve in the military. Of course we can do it. I was going to the army in ROTC, and now Spain, I was in the ROTC, and the first time I was a deaf cadet. There was one before me, so it was kind of strange. Communication strategies were difficult, and I remember before. I had to know their jargon, I had to know their culture is different, and I was starting all over again. So I had to learn the world. I had to learn the military world. They're everything. So I had to start all over, and it was a long process and communicating with each other. The first time in class, I had no uniform, and I went in, and everybody was in their uniform. I also learned that every morning at 5:30 in the morning, there's this PT practice, and every Friday, there's a field practice. I was like, so I decided to appear. I still didn't have a uniform, but I started appearing every morning, and my class was really supportive, and I was really motivated to go every morning, every Friday. I still didn't have a uniform, and I would go to class, and I still try. So just watch, just sit and watch. And I was like, that's fine. So on Friday, I didn't participate, but on Friday, finally, I was watching everybody go, learning attention about things, how to stand properly, how to salute properly. And one day, they told me, jump in there. So all excitedly, I ran into the line and, I followed behind somebody to watch them, watch their moves. But this officer, who I emailed at first, had came out and he said, "Hey, you stand in the front. You're not gonna be a follower. You're gonna learn this. You don't need to follow people." And I was like, "Wow, this guy's looking at me like an actual person, not by my disabilities." So weeks go by and I still had no uniform. And time was going, and one day, he walked up to me and they saw me really motivated, and they saw me attending to every practice and working hard for, and they said I deserved a uniform. I was like, wow, that's magnificent. I'm really proud of wearing my uniform. They gave me a helmet, a backpack. They gave me everything. It wasn't just the uniform, it was the boots, it was the whole gear, and they said because I deserved to wear the uniform, I gave all I can, I gave 110, I gave motivation. Process, and so last time we bought, and there's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of training that I have to go through. And at the time, there was this helicopter, huge, hovering over us, and it started landing, and our platoon was just there waiting to get on, and we were all set, and we were packed, and we were geared up, and everybody started going in, but I couldn't because Andre told me that what if he gave a command and I wasn't going to be able to hear it. So to just stay behind. So as I watched everybody jump on, everybody's just getting in. And I kind of saw the cadre discussing about it. At the last minute, he told me, "Hey, get on." And I run fast to the helicopter. I jump up and I say, "Thank you." And get in, and we're talking to each other. And I kind of learned that support was there. And after that, no one ever separated me. We were always doing everything together. And this is a picture of my platoon I'm in. And at first it was kind of awkward, but you can do it with the support and the connection of your platoon. We're all equal, we're all one, and we're all practice together. Accommodations, they apply. They gave me an interpreter, The classes I learned were, we had to lead, we had to show leadership, we had to
what to do,
the center of the office of deaf, and he was good, and it was hard to be an interpreter to go and wake up every morning at 4:30 in the morning, and that's the cadet I ended up emailing, Lieutenant Bucklet. It says in class, and once I've served the country. Lieutenant Phillips, he's in charge of all our bunk. He's in charge of our platoon. One time I saw him, I looked up to him. He just looked so professional, so decent in his uniform. He doesn't look at me as a deaf person. He looks at me for my skills, for my profession. That's us, all strong, and that's the helicopter thing. I almost didn't ride. And everybody has a mentor, and that's mine. Second lieutenant. Soldiers, time, running, shooting, different things every day. And we had to be satisfied. We had to complete satisfied, and that's how I earned this badge. I earned it, and I'm proud to wear it.
This metal here.
For 1 hour, we would go running, and we were all equal. And
So one morning,
the time, I ended up having 9 sign names for each of them, you know. This one guy, I had named him and gave him the sign because he was always sarcastic, and there was this other one that kind of reminded me of a fridge, and then this other guy, he had a scar in his face, so I named him Scarface. You recognize him? He is one of the highest officers. He's a lieutenant, and he's on the streets of the shoulders and need and strength, and he sees me, and I tell him, "Nice to meet you." I was so proud, and he signed me disoriented and looks to my interpreter and shakes my hand, and he's all, "Nice to meet you." I guess he didn't think I was deaf. I don't know if he ever knew I was deaf. So as time goes on, again and again, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks ago, something happened. So in the ROTC program, there's 2 levels. I'm in 2 right now, But to continue to the 3rd and 4th, it's just medical exam, and of course, I failed because I'm deaf. I can't pass my hearing test, and that kind of became an issue. To continue my 3rd, I had to stop going to PT. I had to stop going to my Friday morning field training. I had to do a lot of stuff, and it was a big sacrifice. It kind of hit me. Everybody sitting there with me was upset that I couldn't really go forward anymore. And someone on top of me kept trying to get me in, trying to give me all these other things, saying I was a good person, I was motivated, I was a good soldier. It didn't work. We'd sit down and discuss it. My progress was magnificent. And he did his research, and he found out that at another school they had a deaf cadet already in the 4th. He had already his last and graduated with his 4 ROTC program years. And he's like, well, he's did it, and he's deaf, So people with me were telling me, don't give up, keep on trying. So I started proceeding, and he would help me and support me, and they would support me for. Back then, there was blacks and they can't join the military. Now they can. The military changed, everybody's different now. This time now it's women couldn't join the military, and it changed. Now women can. And, there's people that are disabled and they still are in the military. Why can't they accept disabled people to join the military? Still deaf proud, hoorah.